I'm Terry Laughlin, founder and head coach of Total Immersion Swimming, and I love swimming long distances in open water. And today we're going to talk about a revolution in freestyle technique and why it occurred. I often tell triathletes that what they have is an audacious ambition, an unprecedented ambition, to come into swimming with very little experience and to swim long distances in open water, often in semi-chaotic conditions. And that is an ambition that really didn't exist prior to the 1980s or 1990s. Now, the freestyle that was swum prior to that time was influenced by how people used it. So from about the 1900s to the 1980s, it was exceptionally rare for people to want to swim long distance, and certainly in open water. Virtually anyone who was uncoached, if they wanted to swim any distance over 25 or 50 meters, would swim it in breaststroke. Breaststroke is an uncomplicated stroke, and it has restful pauses built into it. So it was sort of the everyman's endurance stroke of the time. And then in the 1990s, large numbers of people, millions today, wanted to swim long distances in open water, and they weren't satisfied with breaststroke. They thought it was too slow. So they wanted to swim the crawl. The problem was that the crawl that existed at the time wasn't really suited for that. The American crawl, as it was called, originated actually around 1906. And from 1906 until just about the 1990s, the American crawl was what prevailed. When you talked about freestyle, you're really talking about American crawl. And American crawl was characterized by very pull and kick oriented, very power oriented, high stroke rates and high exertion. And therefore, if you wanted to swim it for any distance, you needed coaching and you needed serious training. And that wasn't going to be the case for triathletes. They needed a different style of swimming. They needed a style of crawl that was optimized to swim for distance, optimized to swim at a decent pace, and at the same time was a style of swimming that allowed them to swim in a pretty relaxed way, to be able to swim a long distance and feel fresh when they finished. Fresh enough to get out of the water and cycle and run like the wind. And so that was the prod that resulted in the evolution over time, an evolution that has at this point been going on for about 25 years in total immersion crawl technique. And it really has amounted in terms of how it differs from the traditional American crawl. Total immersion is a revolutionary, perhaps even historic departure in terms of being a stroke designed to be able to swim long distances with ease, designed to be simple to learn by people who don't have coaching, and designed so that you can swim a long distance without having to do long and hard training, so that you have time to run and bike. So in our next video, we're going to talk about what are the characteristics of the total immersion crawl that make it a revolutionary and historic departure from traditional American crawl.